Hudepohl, King of Bowling, next.
Hello and welcome back to Losantaville Lanes. These, I guess, assembled here are your Sunday morning musketeers, J.D. Hayworth, along with the lady in the chapeau, Bo Hudepohl, and David Newrath. And Bo, here at lovely Losantaville Lanes, this place has quite a distinction.
We certainly do here. We had a record number of entries last week with 726.
726. It's come down to 4, including our reigning champion, David Newrath. We begin today with Kevin Gillette and Kerry Logan.
That's right. Two players I've grown up with in the city. Both of them have fantastic games, and we're going to see a big match today.
I think we're going to take a look at Kevin Gillette right now. Take a look at his action. David, you've known him for so long. What's his strength?
Changed his game drastically in the last couple of years, and he's actually become a much stronger player. Learned a new release, getting the ball down a little earlier. Kevin has worked on his game, and it's paying off.
It's paying off for him, and of course next it's Kerry Logan up.
The big bender, we love to watch him bowl because he can really hook it. He's accurate. He's one of the more accurate left-handers in town. Makes the spares well. We're going to see a high-scoring match.
And of course we should issue now a disclaimer because we don't want to see obscenities here on Sunday morning, but there you have a shot putter turned into a bowler. David, kind of cruddy form, isn't it?
That's probably the worst form I've ever seen, J.D.
Now for the record, the tape was not rolling, but I do have some witnesses here. I threw a strike my first time up, and of course the nerve-wracking action of television was just more than I could handle. There are the witnesses claiming, in fact, I had the strike, and I won't be here to strike, but we'll have the bowlers who can really do it coming up next on the Hudepohl King of TV Bowling.
Hudepohl, King of Bowling. Brought to you by the Hudepohl Brewing Company, America's great small brewery.
Live Sports, pleased to be bringing you the Hudepohl King of TV Bowling as local bowling celebrates its 25th season on Cincinnati television, and the match at hand, Kevin Gillette against Kerry Logan. Here is Gillette to open things up in frame one.
Excellent action on the 6-pin. Playing about the 13th board, keeping the ball fairly tight. And what we mean by that is not looping it out to the right and letting it hook back. That the ball hit, you can see there. Everybody's happy about it, even Kevin.
Kevin, the manager at Western Bowl, lives his work, lives his hobby, I guess we'd say. Lives his sport. Here's Kerry Logan. Left-hander on a search and destroy.
These two players are no strangers to television. Kevin, of course, appearing on national television when he was on the Pro Bowlers Tour. And Kerry Logan has been on our show many, many times down through the years.
I might want to explain here. Kevin is no longer touring on the tour. That's a funny way to say it.
Yeah.
He's not a touring pro, one or two.
There you go.
Which makes him eligible to bowl in our local tournament here because he does bowl in regular league play and has his 21 games in the league, which is one of the stipulations you have to have.
Going high on the left lane. Kerry obviously not pleased with that shot from the start. There you see it, left the 2-4.
You mentioned these gentlemen are no strangers to television competition. Kerry Logan on his questionnaire, when asked how many years he's been competing in the King qualifying, simply puts down a bunch.
The 7 years that I've been conducting the tournaments, he has been there frequently.
And he shows you that seasoned competitive edge there as he's able to pick up the spare.
I'd like to mention that we are qualifying today at Stones Lanes. We will be qualifying next Saturday and Sunday at Coleraine Bowl.
There's the locations, and now here's Kevin Gillette.
The man you're looking at right now in the roll-off to make it to our TV show had to throw strikes in the 9th and strike out in the 10th frame to shut his opponent out. Kevin Gillette is a competitor, and he has a fantastic game. I mentioned in the opening of the show, J.D., where he made a couple of vital changes in his game. Kevin used to loft the ball out onto the lane considerably. That means throwing it out to about the 6.5, 7 foot mark before it hits the lanes. That delays the roll, and Kevin was consistently shooting 10 pins. He took a year or two, worked on his release, developed a better release, gets the ball down about the 4 foot area, which is where it should be. Kevin has come light years. Another shot that's in. It shouldn't have carried, but it did.
And he nails it. You talked about the strikes he wanted. You talked about the strikes he had to get in this in the qualifying match this morning, and he does it again.
Let's watch the reaction. He knows it's going to be a little wide, but watch the body English. He's probably going to help it up a little bit, give it a little push. Head pin goes to the wall, comes off, takes the 4 into the 5, and then takes out the 7.
You know, we might want to explain here. They didn't re-qualify. What they did was the low man from Saturday, the second position from Sunday, rolled a 1 game this morning to determine who was going to be bowling on the show today. And Gary Grissinger did a fine job shooting a 234, but could not beat Kevin, who shot 244.
And Kerry leaves the 7 pin.
Gary's a lot of bowler, too, and he'll be in the finals, right, Bo?
That's correct. Anybody that you've seen bowling on a TV show, and including the guys who lose in the roll-off, will be competing April the 3rd at Glen Schmidt Lanes in Newport to bowl on the finals.
Kerry Logan able to nail the 7, pick up the spare.
As we look at it right now, the game is early, but the advantage is to Kevin Gillette. As we speak, Kevin has a 21-pin advantage. A lot of the players will employ certain techniques, some of which are going to be using different equipment to compensate for changes in the lanes. And that's exactly what Kerry's doing.
Able to compensate just the way he wants to by filling up the frame.
You know, we have an interesting situation from Saturday's qualifying at Stones. You know, we see the top 2 to come on the show next week. We have a tie for the first position, which is 748, Dave Forwood and Wayne Sherman. Interesting enough, if Wayne Sherman wins today, then Doug Harbour would be seeded into the match. So I think Doug's at home rooting for Wayne today when we get to that 3rd game.
No.
Wayne, of course, our reigning king. Kevin Gillette would like very much to take over. Let's see if he can strike again. He does so. He is right on target.
I'll tell you, J.D., we're going to look at the score here just briefly, and what we're going to see is a man with the first 4, 2 of which are suspect, the 3rd and 4th frame. However, they worked. They're in the pit. Kevin Gillette has a 21-pin lead.
You know, Tom Schiller is sitting here, has the keys to a 1987 Ford Taurus that is sitting right outside the door here in the event that we have a 300 game rolled on TV.
And Kevin Gillette would like very much to roll it. Now, of course, let's see if the television factor comes into play here.
It's in the area.
The television factor, as soon as we mention the car, there stands the 7 pin.
He didn't hear us.
I know, just kidding.
J.D., you're terrible. The light swisher that he's been carrying the last 3 frames is going to desert him right here. The ball over the 12th board. He has been thrown over the 13th. It's going to be light. Head pin goes to the wall, comes off, and we watch Kevin's back get out of the way, and it reveals the 7. What happens on the light hit is sometimes the head pin will get trapped in the left-hand channel and will not come across to do the damage that it's been doing.
Oh, Kevin's able to nail that pesky 7 right there. Gone the chance for the 300 game, but still a substantial lead for Mr. Gillette.
Kerry Logan, if he throws the strike in the 5th frame, can cut the lead back to the 30 pins. Hasn't bowled that bad, but when you come out of the gate with the first 4, your competitor is going to have an edge on you.
David, do you remember the finals at Glenmore Bowl a few years ago when Kerry Logan needed like a 5-pin count to win or a 6-pin count to win and got a 5-pin count? It was utter shock.
It was
hard luck and something he would not want to repeat today.
The house was so quiet, J.D., you wouldn't have believed it. It was like everybody assumed he had won. And then on that final fill ball to ease up just a little bit and lose by a pin, the house was struck. I mean, it was quiet.
There's a chance to get that pin back 5 years later, and he's able to do that. Now perhaps a situation where his opponent got out of the gate early, but maybe history can repeat itself in a bit of a different fashion, knowing the variables involved in this game.
Both players going into the 6th frame at this point. 30-pin advantage to Kevin Gillette. Both players a spare working.
You know, I alluded to our sponsors a few minutes ago. Tom Schiller and his son Tony are here in the audience. They have been every week. Been driving that new car over here, waiting to have a 300 game rolled. Ken Rippinger and Tony Plank are here from the Hudepohl Shane Lane Brewery.
There's that 10-pin hanging up there for Kerry. And
there they are. There's Tony.
Fine sponsors.
Ken Rippinger.
Kerry's lucky that's all he left on that shot. It was incredibly high. A great break to break down the split and only walk away with a 1-pin lead.
There's the Schillers.
Our friends from the Ford dealership. You know, it's a 300 game, not 300 pounds, right? I was hoping it was that number. I might be able to take a new Ford. Let's see if that 10 will go. Yes, it does.
Oh, a couple pizzas from La Rosa's and a 6-pack of Hootie. I think you could have got there, JD.
I tell you what. There's a look at the score, Mr. David.
Well, as we mentioned it before, it's now 32 pins advantage. So, gentlemen, you're looking at, and if he strikes, he can carry that advantage even higher. The light slapper's back.
And he smiles, saying, yeah, that is the light slapper.
How many of these can he possibly hope to do? I mean, Kevin, look at him. He's still smiling. That's great. But you know what? I know him well enough. He's not going to try to flush the pocket. He's not going to change a thing.
Well, you can't argue with success, and if it's worked thus far, perhaps it's one of the adjustments you make on the different lanes to a certain degree. That's
exactly right, J.D. You can fine-tune your game and wind up with a 9-pin count rather than a sloppy 10-pin.
You know, Kevin's been fine-tuning his game at Western Bowl. He's the manager over there.
That's right. He says in terms of practice, he has down here 3+, and in parentheses, depending. I guess depending on how his mechanics are going and how things are going for him during the course of the week.
It's a busy job being a manager.
Absolutely. Not only depending on his own game, but who else needs to play and what the lane conditions are and everything else that goes into the business of bowling.
We want everybody to have fun. You know, when you go bowling, it's fun, and that's what our job is in management.
Saw Kevin taking the 2. What was that? 2-5. Lost track of where I was for a minute.
Wake up, David. You're here at Losantaville Lanes. It's a Sunday morning. The match features Kevin Gillette and Kerry Logan. There you go. And that's also a public service for our friends who just joined us here on the Hudepohl King of Bowling.
And Kevin's leading by 31 pins.
Kerry trying to make that up.
These guys are good.
He's going to have to come up with a spare again. And he's not too happy.
No, he's 33 pins in the rears, and he's going to have to strike to make that up. And frankly, he has not hit the pocket solidly, but one time in this entire game.
Search and destroy is back obscuring the shot, but you hear the applause of the gallery. Lets us know he gets the mark there, the spare he was looking for.
As I alluded to the opening, Kerry is a big bender. If the lanes are just a little bit tricky, he has a little more problems than some other people figuring out, but the big ball creates the striking power, and he depends on that. His spare game, as I mentioned to, so far is perfect. It's the only thing that's kept this match even as close as it is. There you go.
7 stays up.
He's not getting the ball reaction that he wants on the back end. You're going to watch this. He knows he's going to flush the pocket this time, but watch the 4-pin. Second pin from the left-hand side of your screen on the split screen there. It's going to go to the channel. Right there, it goes to the channel and then dies. It will not climb out to get the 7 out. Look at his eyes. He had to have that one to create anything.
You know, if you watch the earlier matches with our 2 young bowlers and look at this variance in styles, how the men here are extending and, you know, staying square at the line and following through, that's really important.
And of course, perhaps the greatest contrast was my meager and feeble attempt on the lanes earlier. But now here's a real good bowler, Kevin Gillette.
Real good is right, and this is a real good shot. That was fantastic.
It went down smooth and easy like Hudie Gold.
34 pins, advantage, strike working. He could make it 44 right here, and with 3 frames to go. the party would be over. Big, big frame. Ninth frame, Kevin Gillette can salt the match away with a strike right here.
Intensity here on this frame o' destiny, if you will. Will he keep that appointment?
A little sigh, stay loose, but make a good shot. Kevin Gillette with a strike will put this match away.
There it is. Mathematically, Kevin Gillette takes it. You see it right there.
As we look at the sheet, Kevin Gillette would not even have to mark in the 10th frame. Even if Kerry Logan would strike out, Kevin Gillette would still be our winner.
So for Kerry Logan, the prescription is pride. There's the strike he's been looking for through the previous frames, David.
You know, Kerry is going to get $150, though, for his efforts today, and I don't think that's too bad.
No, the monetary reward is fine, but it's perhaps not what he's looking for exactly. Although no one would ever look a gift horse or a money horse in the mouth.
What was that?
Just a variation, a Sunday morning variation on Benjamin Franklin's bromide of years ago. And he's saying, where were these shots earlier?
Exactly. He's loosened up a little bit, and we've through the years, how many times have we seen that? The player is out of the match mathematically. Some little muscle in his arm says, no more pressure, let's loosen up. The ball rolls better and carries the pins. The big bender will create some powerful strikes, but it's also going to create some powerful headaches from time to time.
David, did you hear yesterday we had an 868 rolled in the Hamilton City tournament? And of course, that's not Cincinnati City, but the Hamilton City tournament.
And
Daryl Higgins.
Daryl.
Yeah. 299, 290, 279, 33 strikes, 1 spare, and 1 miss.
Congratulations on a phenomenal series.
That's almost unbelievable. Daryl's a great, great shooter. There's a great shooter right here. 199 in the 8th frame. If he strikes out, he will open our show today with 259.
That's quite a way to open one's eyes.
Tough player. He's here to play, and this game is more or less issuing a challenge to our next 2 players. Say, come and get me.
He gets it there.
When it's your day, and he knows it. He carried out the quick 5-7 on that shot to loosen him up even more. Kevin Gillette has got to be entering the second match with more confidence than any player so far this year.
You know, he's going against a fairly new player in the King, Mike Mybers.
Is it 259? It is.
Yes, it is. Few words between these 2 bowlers as we take a look at the score. It is Kevin Gillette advancing to match 2, and we'll be back right after this for Hudepohl